Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. What's up, sister?
Hi, sister. Hi, sister. Happy Father's Day to your husband and, of course, to our father, who I've talked to and laughed at for a few times today because my dad is funny. But
Well, let's start right there. Let's say Happy Father's Day to the fathers, the father figures. One of our highest rated, our highest viewed shows is when we had a conversation with our father. And
yes,
so, for those of you who are missing the physical presence of your father being here on earth with you, um, I hope that you are looking back fondly on the life lessons, on the stories, and hey, even the triumphs over tragedies, because everybody's experiences of their fathers is not the same, right?
right.
So it's great. Hey Jody, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in as always. We
Hey, Miss
appreciate you.
Jody.
And she said, Happy Father's Day, Daddy Hill. Yes, he made an appearance. Um, he made an appearance here on grandfather duty. So this um this weekend, uh our production assistant.
Yes.
I'm trying to get my little banner typed up here because I didn't want to have her do that. Yay! All right. Want to say congratulations to our T Rose Jasmine. Jasmine
Yay.
participated in the Blooming in June debutante coterie cotillion, and the culmination of the last several months of this year ended on yesterday at the presentation and the final scholarships and the father daughter dance and the dance with the escorts and all the things and all the pictures and all the glitz and glam. And so we want to congratulate our production assistant T Rose Jasmine, one more step in her rites of passage as a graduating senior. We're kind of ticking them off, and this was one of those. So, congratulations.
Congratulations. I think it's awesome. I obviously didn't have an opportunity to be there, but from the pictures that I saw, she looked absolutely beautiful, and I know that she was gorgeous, and I know that you know in so many different cultures there are rites of passages, and obviously here in the United States in a lot of ways we've had to create these rites of passages because we were stripped of so many, right?
Yeah.
As a result of how much of our lineage started in this country, not all of it but some of it. And so I'm just really excited for her to have been able to participate. It may not be a big thing today,
Mm-hmm.
but I think as she gets older and she'll look back on this time and this moment. It was interesting. I saw um a picture this morning where my regional director posted a picture of her cotillion and saying how divorce is hard, but she had the opportunity to have two dads who really loved her. And so it was her and both of her fathers at her cotillion. And so
Mm-hmm.
these are moments that will create, these are memories that you're creating that will last a lifetime. So I'm happy that Jasmine Taz had that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And I too had a friend who were like, they look back fondly on those moments and in those times. So congratulations once again to our production assistant. We appreciate your hard work, and we appreciate you hanging in there because I know that this week was a challenging week. So yeah, we had to start the show with those little congratulatory messages, And again, for those of you who are missing your fathers in this earthly plane, I hope you found some joy and some laughter as you were thinking about them today, because we find joy and laughter every day.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we talk about the main topic we said we're going to talk about, or should we talk about some of these other topics first? Because let me tell y'all, out here in these streets, folks are stripping. I don't know if you ever listened to Reese Colbert. So Reese Colbert she appears sometime on the Clay Kane show. She has her own show on Saturdays,
Hmm.
on Urban appears sometime on MSNBC on various shows and giving commentary. She is in the political sphere and realm, but she has this game she's invented called "Am I Tripping?" and I just bring that up because folks are stripping. That's kind of how I feel. Folks are stripping. And our main topic tonight is about this one Miss Caitlin Clark. So if unless you've been living under a rock, I would say you have not heard about Caitlin Clark, who is the newest one of the rookies. She was the number one draft pick for the WNBA. She is uh, played for the University of Iowa. Um, I think won one national championship. I think won one. Let me double check whether or not they ever won, because I think she did they win
Yeah,
one,
I think they did.
because I know they lost to Carolina. I think they
They
beat,
lost at LSU and the South Carolina.
but did they beat Carolina one of those times? I gotta go back and look. I gotta go look at the stats because I don't know.
I
But
don't remember,
nonetheless,
to be
she
honest.
is she's the face, she's the marketing, she is the brand right now for one WNBA. However, now that she's been thrust into um this spotlight, every the scrutiny, the vitriol, the plain out racism. I mean, even she had to come out and say, "Listen, racists, don't follow me. Like, I'm not with y'all. Like, we not cool like that. Like, I don't believe
Right.
nothing I'll say." Because they're trying to make everything this big. These big black girls like Angel Reese and and everybody's out to attack her, and it's like I think they just playing basketball. At least that's what I see. I
Right.
see a young rookie in the league who doesn't have her weight up yet physically. So you coming in and playing with grown women um, who can knock you off your block. Now we know your only game is trying to shoot from half court and beyond or whatever, and you're still trying to get your rhythm. But it's the way in which the sports commentary, the way in which people who don't clearly have never played a sport are commenting as if she's being targeted in some way. And so I've seen a few people, few professionals, like real professionals, like Magic Johnson was like, listen, my first day in training camp, uh a vet came up to me and knocked me in the back of my head. So the next play down, when I found him exposed, I knocked him in the back of his head. And because that's part for the course. Not saying being right, wrong, and different, no judgment, but it's like it's basketball. I don't know, sister. So what that's why our title is protection in need of correction. How do we correct these fools? Because we still also have to talk about the conversation and commentary about her not being on the USA basketball team. But let's just talk about these fouls that she has gotten. Like everybody get fouled.
Yeah. Okay. So first, no, she never won a championship. So
That's what
let me
I
just
thought. Like
correct that.
no,
Um,
And
So
she's
we
a great player.
obviously I never played on the collegiate level. One of my regrets that I didn't even try to do that.
Mhm.
Um, but at the time there was no WNBA,
Yeah.
so and the idea of playing overseas felt like a foreign one to us.
Yes.
Obviously it's a lot more
It
prevalent now.
actually is foreign, but you know.
Yeah, but a foreign idea.
Yes.
Anyway, I think at the end of the day, Caitlin Clark is a good basketball player. Some may say she's a great basketball player. Obviously, when you move from the collegiate level into the professional realm, as with 99.9% of players, you could have been the greatest to ever do it on the collegiate level. You're going to come up against some new challenges and some different challenges in the professional realm for more than one reason. The first reason is you are now everybody is an elite athlete who you're playing against, right?
Yep.
Everybody was the best at their school or their college, their high school. They've been the best since second grade, right? Since they were in bitty basketball at AAU. So that's one reason. The other reason is because, as is the case, people don't like to say this, but as is the case with most sports, amongst other things, there is a bit of hazing that takes place.
Hmm.
There is a bit of, you know, oh yeah, you're the rookie, you're the it girl or guy. We're gonna put you in your place. And I think that has happened with the Kobe Bryants of the world,
Hmm.
Michael Jordans of the world, like you said, Magic Johnsons of the world. It, but for others, the response is, so I got to be better. So I gotta, if they Jones me, I gotta learn how to Jones them. If they make me do X, Y, Z, I gotta show up and play that much harder and better. I feel like a lot of these folks clearly never watched Love and Basketball also. I mean, did y'all not see when she went to USC and shot that shot up and held her arm up there, and how she was so proud of her 3-pointer and they made her run all the sprints and the things, the suicides and the things. That's
Right,
it's
because
not
while you standing up there posing, they done ran back down and done scored on us because
unscored on you, right?
you happy that you scored this one shot and we still playing the damn game.
Game, right? And like I'll even shift it a little bit. If you're looking at the men's professional teams right now, I have been completely. Now I missed the game on Friday. It looks like the Mavericks did win. They were not eliminated. But I've been completely discombobulated on how are y'all losing like this? Y'all are losing in grand fashion.
Hmm.
And it's because there are fundamentals in the game that are being missed repeatedly, right? And how do you get better at the fundamentals? You have to go through the growing pains. You have to run the sprints. You have to go in for the layup and get hit upside the head when the block is being made. And so for like this article I was just reading, there was an actual a few weeks ago, there was an actual somebody ran up on her and hit her straight
Hmm.
up out the gate, right?
Yes.
There was an actual physical contact.
And that was like a welcome to the Debbie, welcome to the pros hit.
Right. That was a welcome to the pros hit, but it didn't result in a flagrant foul, I believe.
Hmm.
And now this, which clearly looked to me, it did appear that she was going to block. Now, it anyway, get up and run up on the person. Run up on her. That's how you do it. you know,
Hmm.
you know, stop playing in my face, girl. You're not gonna hit me and run up on her. That's it's I don't understand how we have these physical games and we expect people to be physical, be good, be disciplined, work hard, play all the minutes, and then something like and then get like, oh my gosh, something like this has happened. I mean, trust me, in high school, it was about there were times we was about to throw some hands. And
Hmm.
we was playing for much less.
Much of nothing. How about that?
Right. And was on losing teams and still was like, but you're not gonna play in my face. And so it's like, look, she fouled you hard. Next go round, you foul her hard, or you get up and run up on her and be like, don't play in my face. This is
Hmm.
the game, but this is the game. And I'm not saying I'm not advocating for violence. What I am saying, however, is that
This is how the game is played.
and it's
So
been the
just play the
reality is it's
game.
been played like this. This is
Yes.
not new. I mean, unless we're going back to again, is it Dr. Naismith who invented basketball? I believe
Hmm.
it is. Unless we're going back to the peach baskets, where you had to what was it? What was the
Peach
rule?
baskets in half court because it wasn't even
Yes,
full
it was
court.
only half court, and you had to have like so many passes and so many
Yes.
dribbles unless we're going back to that. And that's fine if y'all want to try that, but it probably would make for a very boring game. But unless we're going back to that, then understand this is par for the course. So the question is either you're going to prepare yourself for what comes, or maybe this is not your thing.
Well,
Because
I don't think and here's the thing for me.
well, maybe it's not her, maybe it's everybody else around.
And that's where I was going with it. Like, this is a 22-year-old recent college grad. So one of the points she made was like, when you first get out, you coming in, you were the it person. Baby, that applies in corporate America too.
Mm-hmm.
You first graduate from college, you think you're going in there and you're gonna change some things. And then you realize how hard them systems are,
Right.
right? And I'm not talking about like computer processing systems or something like that. I'm talking about how bureaucracy, corporate BS and all how it's all set up, right? You learn some things real fast when you get an assignment and you produce some really good work and then someone take credit for it. You be like, oh wait, that's just like that flavor and foul Angel Reese just did on her because you get knocked upside the head. That's that's the game of life as well.
Right.
And I don't think any so if her career was anything but this basketball, I don't obviously we wouldn't be even having these conversations, right? Because she still would be getting her paces as a newly hired employee who coming out with a lot of attention, a lot of summa cum laude and whatever, and you got all of these awards and recognition, and you like, oh, I'm coming in, and I'm like the highest paid person as a new hire, and you still gonna get hit in the face.
Yeah, you still may have to go get somebody some coffee.
You might have to get somebody some coffee. You're gonna have to take some training classes. You're gonna do a whole bunch of other things, right, to get your game up. And so I think that a lot of it is not her, and a lot of it is not about who she is as a human being, as a young woman, as a player, as an athlete. A lot of it has to do with the way she is being covered and way she is being used as a proxy for other things. So I think that the way they are covering it, there are racist undertones. That
Yes.
don't mean she's a racist. That don't mean it has nothing to do with her. But it means that people are using her as a proxy for their grievances.
Well, we know
Like
there's
look at all those black women, and they were doing it while they were still in college.
yeah, and they were doing it even before her. I mean, again, Don Imus
Yes, it's the
famously made
folks
a
who just started watching the WNBA. Exactly. Because I saw today, I was like, oh, Teresa Witherspoon, look, she coaches the Chicago Sky, which is the team Angel Reese play on. I
Mhm.
remember when she was playing in Olympic. I remember when the Cheryl Swoops, the Dawn Staleys of the world, when they first, that USA basketball team, like when the WNBA first started. right? Because they came off of that, like, and those sisters was playing ball and hitting hard then. The Sue Birds of the world, they been playing hard.
Yeah, and so let me just make sure I'm clear. Again, I'm not trying to advocate for violence, but I am saying that it is a physical game. I mean, and there are so many things that now you can't do that you used to be able to do. I mean, like the whole concept of boxing out seems to be foreign.
Foreign.
But that's like it was always about a good hard box out,
Yes,
um
stick your, and it would tell you, stick your booty out, stick your hips out, hip check them. You used to be able to hip check people.
and the same with setting a pick. I mean, you had to run up, not move, stand, like really set the pick, and you would always try to get like a charge and all these things. So
Mm-hmm.
it didn't just become physical because she's playing the game. And to your
Right.
point, I don't think it's her, but it's all the people trying to attach themselves to the situation in order to further some other motives and aims that they have.
Yeah. And I yes, you had to take a charge, no moving, honey.
None.
And sometimes taking them charges hurt.
Yeah, they definitely hurt. If you
Sometimes
did it right, they did hurt.
exactly. Exactly. Well, the other big controversy, and I don't know if it's really a big controversy as it relates to Caitlin specifically, was around the USA basketball team. And I've only heard one commentator. I mean, because so many people been commenting on it, and the arrogance and hubris of that dang on Stephen A. Smith with the women he had on his show and the way he talked to them just really got under my skin. But I think it's Rachel. What's her name? Rachel. Is it Rachel?
Mm,
The one who had got fired, girl, from ESPN, a little white woman. Rachel Scott, Rachel Nichols. What's her name?
I don't know.
Anyway, she made some of the most valid points about this team and picking up this team. But WNBA, like when the NBA or when USA men's basketball pick their team, their season is over. The
Mhm.
women are in the middle of their season, and they have about 7 practices. We ain't got time. You ain't even got good with your own team yet. Like we gonna pick the players who gonna give us the best shot to win against everybody in the world. And we don't have time. And I don't care what they did in 92 and having Christian Laettner on, because we ain't talking about 92. We ain't talking about 32 years ago. We talking about right now where the game has changed. And as she said, if you go down the NBA roster right now, many of those top 20 or top 10 players, they going back to their home country and play.
Right.
But they home country. In the
Right.
WNBA, when you go down all the top, and if you while the women's world is catching up, right? Like the NBA, the world caught up to USA basketball and they lost a few. The women don't want to ever be in that position.
Mm-hmm.
So they sent in their best, they recruited their best, and they chose their best because they have 7 practices before their first competition in the Olympics. They ain't got time to play. So they pick people who have already played together, who got a lot of years of experience. And yes, they might be older and mature. And I can't even believe, Diana Taurasi is 42, because I'm like, well, then damn, how old that make me? Because I remember when she like, what? It started making
Right.
me
I
shake my
literally turned on the TV like she's still playing.
head.
Okay. And right here, but for whatever reason, I clearly
No,
missed.
not Marley Rivera Station. Let me go find this girl name. Let me find her.
But
Rachel.
your point was because
The point she was making is like these women, they don't have time. Time. Not Rachel Scott. Rachel Scott is the one the congressional
on
reporter. Hold on.
ABC, right?
Yes, let me find this. Is Rachel
Well,
Nichols. Rachel Nichols. That's her name.
okay.
She was the one, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, and actually there's a good interview with her on Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes podcast, because she was the one who was made the comments. She was fired from ESPN with some comments about when Maria
Taylor.
Taylor got promoted, and like she said, of course they took that piece in part, and basically they held it for a couple years till they found the time to use it against her. Like it's a really good, if you want to go listen to her on that. Yeah, it's very interesting. Um, so, but nonetheless, she made to me, the most valid argument, as I have listened to people talk about it all week. And the bottom line is, listen, Caitlin needs to get the Indiana Fever, which is currently a losing team. I don't know if they won today or not, but their record when they were playing, I was watching the game earlier, they were 4-10. Like, let's get them to be a winning team before we talk about her trying to add anything to Team USA.
When does the Olympics start?
Soon, July.
I mean, again, so I think it sounds again like it's less of a slight. Like, look, I understand from a financial standpoint,
Yeah, July
WNBA.
26th to August 11th is the Paris Olympics, Summer
Okay,
Olympics.
and I get
Mhm.
that they're experiencing a surge financially and with branding and corporate support and things like that. And so, yes, if we are talking about what could be the implications, the long term implications from a financial standpoint, if we remember back in the day, the Dream Team and the original Dream Team, because again, we have seen the men's professional team had all the stars and lost.
And
So,
lost.
so,
There. How about
so,
that?
so the original dream team, the Wheaties
And then
boxes.
they had the redemption team. Remember, they had a whole documentary about them because they found themselves losing because people like Manu Ginobili and what's my other boy name, who were all on the Spurs. They all was playing for their home
Home
countries.
team, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
So
the
anyway, I just say that to say, if the decision is a financial one, then yeah, maybe it did make sense for her to make the team so that they could continue some of the momentum and get more corporate endorsements or whatever. But if
but
the
that's
intention,
USA basketball versus WNBA because they ain't the same entity either.
I know that's what I'm saying, but USA basketball, excuse me, I didn't say that clearly. Let me say it again. The WNBA has seen a resurgence, or a surge in corporate support.
Mm-hmm.
If the USA basketball team was looking to capitalize off of what is happening with the WNBA, perhaps they would have made a financial decision, right? We could use this as leverage for more corporate sponsors, more endorsements, deals, etc. Perhaps. But if they're looking at it from a winning standpoint, a gold medal standpoint, to your point, they have to make these decisions relatively quickly. The season is going on, and they have to figure out how to manage, finding the best players, not being completely disruptive to the season, and winning. And so maybe it was an oversight, or maybe not.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm all for winning. I'm all for winning. So
But
let's
here's the thing, and again, when we talked about earlier about some of the aims and racial undertones, people don't want to admit it, but at the end of the day, some people believe that certain people are more American than others. And so they believe that certain people should represent this country
America. Hmm.
because they're more American than others. I mean, and folks, they don't want to say it, but they say it in other ways.
Yes, absolutely. Well, they can say what they want to say, but all right, let's talk about correction. So the title of this show is Protection in Need of Correction. So we were just talking about how all of the fervor, the fever, and people who are wanting to protect Caitlin Clark as if she is some gentle flower. and how we need to correct that and correct the record on that. But we got to correct this one too. It have y'all seen this interview, or not this interview, this video of Neil deGrasse Tyson corrects Terrence Howard. His response to Terrence Howard. Now I played it for my sister before the show, and we'll drop the link in the comments for you all so you can watch, because it's about 17 minutes, so it's a little too long for us to play the whole thing here. But basically, Terrence Howard is on one right now, you know.
No, Terrence Howard is not on one right now.
Terrence Howard has been on one for a long time.
Exactly. I'm kind of thinking since Hustle and Flow.
Probably before then. Because again, he said, I think, and I believe what he says is true. So he goes on to the Joe Rogan show and he's having this commentary. I didn't listen to all his interview on the Joe Rogan show, but part that really got me was when I was listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson, because he sent him, they met each other, or he heard.
Please tell the he that sent what.
Okay. Neil deGrasse Tyson heard from, like, from his mother. Have you heard of Terrence Howard? Yes, I've heard of him, the actor, da 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 da. Oh, he really was really smart as a kid, and he had all of these ideas about math and mathematics and other. And so he was like intrigued. He's like, yes, I like celebrities that have a little geek underbelly, a little nerdy underbelly, like, really smart people with these really smart ideas.
Right.
And so they eventually met, and Terrence sends him a treatise of some of his thoughts. The first one.
Let's just start with what the thought was.
The first one, and like the title, and he has these shirts. Like if you see him when he's interviewed on the Joe Rogan show, you'll see he have this shirt on about square root or something and whatever. So he is basically trying to invent some. We thought they had new math in school now. What Terrence trying to do is some new math and science.
The first premise was
his first thesis.
1 times 1 equals 2, if I recall correct.
Yes, 1 times 1 equals 2.
Which, listen, I have had some intriguing thoughts over the years in conversations about mathematics, science overall. I will say this is not something I've ever thought about. I genuinely, call me a sheep.
You're not an independent thinker. You're not a free thinker.
I'm not a free thinker. I genuinely accepted 1 times 1 equaling 1. I actually accepted Jill Scott's entire song that told me that 1 times anything, it will get me back to that thing. And 1 squared, 1 times 1 divided by 1. I just accepted it. So I am not a free thinker. But you may continue, because Terrence had time to 36 pages worth of time.
Yeah, I think I should share a little bit of the video. Let me see which part. I gotta give y'all.
Just start with the beginning, because the first statement he explains very clearly. Hey, I think
let us share a little bit with y'all, because I think you got to hear it to fully grasp and understand it. And I'm gonna just share a little bit with y'all so y'all can hear a little bit and hear from the man himself, because I just think
he does a better job than we're ever gonna do. So here you go.
He learned I got name checked by Terrence Howard on his recent appearance on Joe Rogan.
I reached out to Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was like, hey, man, yeah, I'd love for you to come on my show, do my...
Notice the shirt. The square root of 2 equals, see?
Okay, but I can't see what it equals, but continue.
Radio, do my TV thing. Would love that. I was like, yeah, but I've got something I want to introduce to you.
I got name checked because 8 years ago, he sent me a 36-page treatise
and it was only 36 pages.
So this is
Only 36 pages. Let me
Terrence
continue.
Howard attempting to reinvent mathematics and physics. A little backstory there. I took initial interest in Terrence because my mother said to me, do you know Terrence Howard? I said, yeah, I know. You mean the actor? She said, yeah. Well, I heard him interviewed on NPR. On there, he said that like when he was a kid, he wanted to be like a scientist and study the universe. I said, well, that's cool. Okay, maybe we'll get him on Stark Talk. We love talking to celebrities who have a sort of soft geek underbelly. At the time, I didn't quite know how to get in touch with him, but we met at something called the Upfronts, which is where networks present their next season's TV shows.
I saw him at an event up front.
And then this came in my inbox. In this particular case, since I basically solicited it from him, I actually spent time reading every line of all 36 pages. And I commented. My comments are in red here. You see that? So I spent a lot of time on it. And I thought, out of respect for him, what I should do is give him my most informed critical analysis that I can. In my field, we call that a peer review. You come up with an idea, you present it
some of this
either at a conference or you first write it up and you send it to your colleagues. It is their duty to alert. That's their job. Not all ideas will turn out to be correct. Most won't be.
All right, let me skip a little further here, right? Let's hear.
Over assess how much of that subject
Oh, I
you
want to,
actually
yeah, I
to
want
think,
this part.
participate on this frontier. What can happen is if you're a fan of a subject, let's say, a hobbyist, let's call it, it's possible to know enough about that subject to think you're right, but not enough about that subject to know that you're wrong. And so there's this sort of valley in there, a valley of false confidence. This has been studied by others, and it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's the phenomenon where a little bit of knowledge, you over-assess how much of that subject you actually know.
All right, I'm gonna stop it right there because that's to me part of the key thing. You get a little bit of knowledge and then you overestimate what you think you know. I'm gonna let y'all watch the rest from there. Please go watch it. But the fact that this astrophysicist took the time and the care and compassion to respond to those 36 pages, that's a lot about his character. That's that he's a good man. That's that he's a good man. Because most people would have laughed, ignored you, and allowed you continue to operate in your ignorance.
Yes.
And instead of taking that or responding with, let me find out more, let me talk to you again, you are affronted and aggrieved and saying, oh, he was dismissive of me.
Well, you went so far as to name drop scientists that you felt like,
well, that was in his treatise. Yeah.
Right, in the treatise. So Terrence Howard went so far as to name drop scientists who he felt, or people, let me not just say scientists, people in history who he felt like had been challenged and disagreed with and what have you. But they were very smart and they had great premises.
Right.
And Dr. Tyson is like, so let me address each one of these characters that you brought up. And yet when Terrence Howard is on Joe Rogan's show, he's like, yeah, and he shit on this person and he said this about this person. It was like, that's not what he said. In fact, what he was saying, for example, Terrence Howard referenced Nikola Tesla, and he was like, yeah, so there's certain, and so Dr. Tyson is like, yeah, certain things that Tesla did were great. I mean, this man does have a unit of measurement named after him. But then some of his other premises were a little faulty. Just because you're great at one thing doesn't mean that you're great at all things. And so for me, I think
And so that's the thing, Terrence. Just because you're good at acting, don't, and you have a curiosity and an interest in math and and creating the structures and what have you, that don't mean that's your area of expertise. I mean,
well, it's not. And that's the thing. It's not. I've literally never heard anybody say, let's call Terrence Howard to discuss like the theory of relativity or anything like that. And that's not to even be dismissive. We've all made the perhaps we've made the Neil deGrasse instead of Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? But it's because deGrasse was a high school.
Cool.
And Drake went there.
Well, not Drake. What was his name? I can't remember his character.
I don't know what his character name was because I didn't watch it.
He was in a wheelchair. That's all I remember.
He was in the wheelchair, right? And he went to Degrassi High. And this is your realm, Terrence. This is what you know, and it's okay. If on the flip side, there was perhaps a conversation about the greatest films ever made, and you had a perspective on that, and you provided facts and evidence, we would trust your commentary because you have a level of expertise in that area that many of us do not. And I'm definitely,
and that won't go with that because again, you said facts and evidence in something that's very subjective, right? Because when it comes to science, as the astrophysicist says, Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson says, is that science is reproducible.
Correct. And I understand where you're going with that. But I'm just still saying, even if you felt like, even if there was a conversation on that, I would expect, maybe I'm wrong, that you would still make an argument based on some facts and figures. Like you wouldn't just be like, it's the greatest movie ever because people watched it. Like you would still have some other evidence around it. And the point is, this is not a shut up and dribble. This is not a stay in your lane. It is not, I am not saying that there are clearly Mayim Bialik is an example of someone who is both an actor who plays a scientist and a real scientist, so it's not beyond the realm of possibility. But first of all, you was on the Joe Rogan show.
Okay.
I feel like we started off problematic. Second, I don't know how y'all got to this conversation, but clearly Dr. Tyson got his receipts.
That part.
So why did Terrence Howard, why is it that Joe Rogan just sat his butt up there and listened and didn't ask any questions like, so what did he say specifically that made you feel Go ahead, read Mr. Hymes. Oh, I think his degrees have earned respect in the field with his lifetime of commitment to his field. I'm not sure Terrence is anywhere close to being in the same ballpark. Listen, Terrence Howard, I
want to talk more. I want to talk more because I don't want to just
talk about correction.
I want to talk about correction and that part about the Dunning-Kruger effect. And that's why I dropped the link in there for others to read more about the Dunning-Kruger effect. Because when I listened to the interview, I was like, remove Terrence Howard's name and substitute any name you want of people who we see in news and politics. You could have put Kanye's name in there because Kanye is talking about some stuff like he on one. You know, of course, you could put that number 45 because remember, he told y'all, like, okay, because we could use bleach and we could stick the laser up there. You like, boo, no, I'm not sticking a laser up inside of me to kill a COVID. Like, what you talking about, right?
Right.
It is that the and so much of our culture and our society is so celebrity obsessed and so celebrity driven that you are listening and taking advice from people who have this much knowledge about a subject. Like what's your name? Ashton Kutcher and them telling y'all not to take showers and shit during COVID. Remember? They talked about how the people who don't use soap. Remember all of that crazy shit? Y'all listening to taking advice from what's that other Joe Rogan's good friend, the quarterback,
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, they got a little piece of information, but it doesn't stand up to as Dr. Larissa says here. I'm glad you put this on my radar. There's a level of science rigor needed. Peer review and challenging thought is part of the process. Yes, Tyson has buku receipts. Social media influences with no credentials of proof. Exactly. And people are listening to these. Like I said, remove Terrence Howard name and substitute any person's name. And people are being hurt and being harmed because this celebrity, well, they got this many followers, they can't be wrong. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
But I have to say, what does that to me, that says more about us than it does about them. I don't know why anybody is listening to anybody and not doing their own. I don't care who it is, even if it's your doctor.
But this is how people do research. They read an article. Again, if the confirmation bias is the strongest bias out there.
True.
And so if your research is aimed at reinforcing what you already believe versus challenging what you currently believe, you're going to find everything and you're going to be driven and directed toward everything that reinforces that belief because that's what you want. Your desire is to reinforce your belief versus challenge your belief. And the fact that, as again, Neil, when you watch the video, you're going to love it. Dr. Larissa, you're going to love it. Jaime, you're going to love it. Jody, you're going to love it. When you watch the video, it's 17 minutes, so it's not super duper long. But he breaks everything down. And the fact that even the response, the anger, or you get someone like Kanye said, well, you're not a free thinker. No, I think. And because I think, I know that my thought, my beliefs can all be challenged. And if they stand up to the scrutiny, then I might have a fact. But until that point, it's just my thoughts, beliefs, and feelings.
So the last thing I will say on this topic, again, when it comes to 1 times 1, I am not a free thinker. I am willing to accept that is equal to 1. I am willing to do that. But obviously, and I wanted to, we've talked about this before, but shout out to the 2 young ladies. Their names Calcia Johnson and Nakia Jackson, 2 young ladies from St. Mary's Academy, obviously in our home state in the city of New Orleans, and how they found a new way to prove the Pythagorean theorem using trigonometry. And so we know that happened in, I think it was last year that it happened, and then they've gotten some publicity, not quite as much as they should. But even with those young ladies being high school students, they knew that in order to prove something that we've accepted, right? Because like I just said, I've accepted 1 times 1 is equal to 1. I accepted a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Therefore, the square root of a squared plus b squared is equal to c, or whatever it is. We've accepted these things, and these young ladies proved it differently because they were saying, the way we actually learned it was circular. And so I'm gonna go with them even before I go with Terrence Howard, because there's still some level of,
Well, they presented at a conference and they
that's
were
what I'm saying.
scrutinized. Yeah.
If there's some level of scrutiny that had to take place, and you can't just wake up one morning and say, you know what? I think the square root of one, with some other mess he was saying.
Oh, because he said because it's impossible that the square root of a number is less than will equal less than the actual number, and Neil deGrasse Tyson was like that. That's absolutely false because you're not including numbers. And see, that's the
That
other
is
thing
less than one.
that are less than you know, less than between 0 and 1 or something like that. Less than 0.
Yes.
Y'all see it in the video. But
Real numbers between, zero, less than one, but more greater than zero. Yeah.
0. Yeah. But here's the thing. What we do know, and what Terrence should know, is that whenever you say every, all, we know it ain't science. Because science never proposes every and all. Like it ain't those extremes. Because science always supposes that there can be an outlier and something can come and change it, right?
Right.
Because that's what science is. It's not like every and all. Like those don't exist in science. So when you say this can never happen, we already know you don't even know math and science, period. And you know me, sister. I'm more in the biology realm because I still think math, the science I'm in, but I still think math can be. I think they invented that.
I
shit.
really don't want you to say that.
Well, Terrence invented his, so I mean, I think I can say it too. Why not?
I don't want you to say it because biology is just math, and so no.
No, it ain't, because you can look at cells under the thing.
And you also talk
not
about
math.
what? Cells multiplying. What
They
is
do.
that? Cells dividing. What is
Well,
that?
now that part is math, okay.
Dr.
But it
Larissa,
ain't always. But that.
Dr. Larissa, help your friend over there.
Anywho, all right, let's end this thing on a lighter and a brighter note. Listen, it is a Black Music Month, and Tiny Desk is featuring Black women. And baby, did you see that Shaka Khan Tiny Desk?
I did. First of all, Shaka is looking really good. Now,
Is Shaka on that Ozempic? Is she on that Ozempic?
Well, she's been losing.
She went to whole vegan, whole plant-based.
Yeah, because she's
her
been
whole
losing
life
weight for a few years now. I can't throw Shaka on that Zempic. Shaka been losing weight for a few years now. She looks really good. Now, I don't always be knowing what's in Shaka cup, but she sounds great. She looks amazing.
And it's funny you say that. And I don't even, it's not about what's her. One of the comments I saw when I was watching it was like, this is SZA in 30 years. Because, she's just very kind of flighty, kind of whatever. Yeah. They were like, oh, look at SZA in 30 years. And I got a chuckle out of that.
Yeah, it just.
But Shaka can really sing. That's a difference.
I'm not, listen, y'all not about to get me in trouble. All I'm going to say is I don't be knowing what SZA talking about, but that's just me. I know.
When Shaka opened her mouth, you like, oh, that's an instrument. Like, you like, wait a minute.
Right.
Like, you heard some tones and some vocalization. You like, wait a minute.
Shaka looked great. She sounded great. She performed. Now, I was sitting there and I'm like, don't get me wrong. So of course,
and Sweet Thing,
and I'm like,
the most famous cheating song out there is Sweet Thing.
Like I said, Sweet Thing. Even though
if y'all didn't know Sweet Thing was a cheating song, it's an infidelity song. That's what it is. And if y'all want to know, sing the lyrics to yourself. Come on, folks, y'all know it.
Did I not say?
I will love you anyway.
My sister will always say she don't like a cheating song, but yet
y'all know Sweet Thing is a cheating song. If y'all don't know Sweet Thing is a cheat, let me put that in the Write that in the comments, please, production assistant.
Don't
Sweet
write
Thing
that
is
in
a
the
cheating
comments.
song.
Do
I'm
not
gonna
write that
love
in the
you
comments.
anyway, even if you cannot stay. I think you ought to one for me, because here is where you ought to be, because that means he over there. Okay?
Again, let
We just
us keep
gotta
on track.
satisfy him.
I was just
Because
thinking,
yours
you know,
not mine, and I
who
can't
would want-
deny it. That's what she said.
yes, Kitty, we're aware of the words of Sweet Thing. Are we talking about this Shaka Khan Toddy Dance, or we just gonna dissect the words of Sweet Thing?
But Shaka was killing it when she sang it, because she also has the other song, Stay. Stay.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Jody, that you were just today years old.
Jody,
I'm
you just
surprised your friend hasn't told you this so many other times.
Jody, girl, you better pull up lyrics. Let me find them lyrics and pull up here for you.
Anyway, I'm trying to talk about the fact that
Go ahead, Shaka.
I was like, you know, most of the people in that audience, I don't know what all the composition of the NPR audience, workplace audience is. First of all, I just would like a job at NPR so I could just go to Tiny Desk. But I don't know the composition of audience, but there was a part of me that was like, I think a lot of these people actually know this song from Mary J. Blige
Yes.
versus Shaka Khan. And the same went for, obviously, I'm Every Woman, because she did the little Shaka Khan ad lib, you know, in there that Whitney Houston made famous.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I would say is I don't know why Shaka don't like I Feel For You, because it's like, come on, Shaka. Come on.
I think that maybe because of her affinity and her love for Prince, that she don't want to sing it anymore.
Is that what you think? Because I feel like she
Okay.
stopped singing it even before Prince passed on.
I think it's
She
because
did not like the Shaka Khan, let me love you, Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan, that's all I want to do. She didn't like that.
Yeah. Well, I just kind of think that, you know, well, maybe because she didn't like that, but I mean, the songs that they played, I mean,
they were great.
The set list was fire, you know, and she sang through the fire, honey.
Right. And then I wondered how many people know that from being sampled by Kanye West.
Right.
But it just shows that she has a body of work that has stood the test of time. And despite some of the challenges that she herself went through, again, looked good, sounded good. So I was here for it.
All right, I'm just gonna drop these lyrics in from the second verse, Miss Jody. So I've been saying that song with all my heart and didn't know. Yes, you have. Because look at this. I wish you were my lover, but you act so undercover. To love your child my whole life wrong. Be it right or be it wrong. I'm only what you make me. Because clearly he made her the side piece. I'm only what you make me, baby. Don't walk away. Don't be so shady. Mm-hmm. But we did drop the link for you to watch the Tiny Desk. If you haven't, it is one of the best. And I love a Tiny Desk. Her voice is crisp. At 71, I believe, she is beautiful, phenomenal, and still so very powerful. And
but I do need to know what these folks are doing, because it may be I just need to adopt a vegan lifestyle, which would be very challenging, because honey, I am seeing the age up under these eyes, girl, and I am like, Miss Shaka face still is facing. Her face card is not being denied, honey.
Well, on another note, before we sign off, so one of my favorite singers of all time passed away on the 13th at the age of 70. So I know they're contemporaries, but Angela Bofield.
I didn't realize she passed away.
She just passed away a few days ago, and trust me, I Try is one of the best songs ever. And she was a I mean, just a beautiful, tonight I give in to the feeling. I mean, just, oh, she just had a beautiful, and I'm on your side when times get rough and no one else can care enough. Let me tell you something. Angela Bofield will got you through some spots, okay? And she was one of the favorites to listen to, and a beautiful woman and beautiful voice. And she came up in a time, I think she and Phyllis Hyman and they all were on the same label. And then when Clive Davis signed Whitney, they just kind of went to the side, and then it was all about Whitney. But I'm gonna tell you, if you haven't ever listened to Angela Bofield, you should listen to her, and one of the most pure, beautiful voices there was. So rest in heaven, my friend. That's all I have. What about you, sister? Any closing remarks?
I'm sorry about hearing about Angela Bofield's transition. Jody, don't stop singing Sweet Thing. It's okay. Demetria has all these hangups about songs, but at the end of the day, it's a plethora of them.
A lot of the songs are cheating songs.
I feel like Upside Down, You Turn Me, You Giving Love, and what is it? Intentionally, Round and Round, You Turn Me. I say to thee respectfully. I believe that
I'm aware that you're cheating, but no one makes me feel like you do. I mean, Diana, tell y'all.
Right. So
It's
I'm just saying,
song.
I believe there's a lot of them, and I am just not going to allow subject matter to end my affection.
I mean, because the way some of this behavior been set up out here in these streets with some of these artists, they already making it hard for us to listen to any of the music.
That's why I'd rather listen to Upside Down, You Turn Me. And I'm okay. Yes, I am aware that you're cheating, but no one makes me feel like you do. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So don't stop singing your songs, Miss Jody.
That, you know what? That's going to be a Hey Sister conversation. Cheating songs. Because I need to hip y'all to all these cheating songs. Because clearly y'all don't know. Y'all been out here singing to the top of your lungs.
I don't think you do. I think but this is the difference. We care about lyricism. I care about lyrics a lot. So I do actually, read them and say the words and whatever. I don't know that it needs to be a full topic.
Y'all know Love's Train is also a cheating song. If you didn't know, go look at the lyrics.
Again, so my sister's gonna
if you find that special lover and love keeps you tied to another, yes, all the cheating songs.
Again. So we will be here for a while with my sister, and she's gonna have a problem with it. But if we are gonna strip Americana of these great musical contributions because the subject matter is cheating, then I think we've done ourselves a disservice. Let's strip the Americana of Sexy Red. Okay, let's do that. Not a Shaka Khan song or a Love Train. Like, let's not do that. Let's.
I just want you to have awareness. This whole show tonight has been about correction. And as long as you're moving with awareness, then you can move how you choose. But be aware. Be aware, my friend.
Stay woke.
Bye, y'all.